Now, with a third of the attendees still on the call, it's getting very late on the East Coast, but a lot of people did email me and said that they're doing this for the recording. I'm saving my big hitter for last. Save the best for last. Eibach Springs. My friend Wilfred Eibach. I don't know if he's in Germany right now or if he's local. Mark, you have to tell me where is Wilfred? One of these days we're going to get him on one of these summits. But I love the brand, love the guy, love everything about the company's culture. So I always like to save the best for last. Mark, thank you for joining and closing out the summit today.
Geez, no pressure. Wilfred's over in Germany, probably watching. Maybe he's probably watching right now. But yeah, thanks for having us, as always.
Well, let's do this. We only have 15 minutes. It's going to go really fast, and you and I can talk for hours,
I
about
remember the
this.
last one of these. I think it went on for a little while and then some.
Oh, I mean, we did the very first one, the meet the sponsors. I think the webinar, I called them webinars back before I realized they were called podcasts. That was how green I was. But what did we go for, like an hour and a half? There's a long episode. It's very, very beneficial and useful too. But let's try to summarize in just a short 15 minutes. Why does Eibach Springs sponsor off-road? What do you look for? What advice do you have for race teams looking to get sponsored? Throw it all out there, and if we miss something, I'm gonna try to wrap it up at the end.
Sure. We've been manufacturing race springs since 1986. I think Wilfred put together the first list of part numbers, and those were in Europe, they were smaller 60 millimeter diameter race springs. We got over here, and Wilfred started working with race teams. I think Marty was working here. Marty Fielka was here at Eibach at the time, and everybody was talking about dirt racing and off-road racing, and we started manufacturing larger diameter springs for the needs of the racers. I think Robbie Gordon was looking for a larger, maybe even a 4 millimeter ID spring, which we still don't even make today. But lots of travel, lots of durability, and so we were up to that challenge and started making something that the racers needed. And I think our attention to detail, our German engineering, the high quality of the raw materials, the quality check process, all of these things go into a product that ends up being pretty darn tough. And I think I would like to say that's why we are a strong part of the off-road racing and motorsport industry. So we've been doing, realistically, I guess I could elaborate on that and say that partnerships has actually helped grow our catalog.
Excellent.
We work with people, with teams. We do this for off-road racing. We do it for on dirt racing, oval track racing. And we work directly with teams who are like, hey, can we get something that's just a little bit different? I need a little more. We'll take those notes. We'll go back and see if there's a real market for it. And we'll actually manufacture a product that fits a spot that no one's got.
That's excellent. And so I know Jason Coleman's one of your teams. He just raced Vegas to Reno.
He did. He didn't just race Vegas.
Exactly.
He just won for
Exactly.
the third time in a row, a three-peat. Yeah. So congratulations to Jason and Brady. That's and team. That was pretty amazing, and we were excited to be working with those guys.
That's really good. So for the drivers on the call who want to know, how did Jason become an Eibach driver? What kind of tips do you have? How did you find Jason?
Shameless plug. So I did one of these. I did one of these sponsorship summits, and actually, no, it wasn't even one that I did. Jason just joined a sponsorship summit or one of your programs, and he ended up reaching out to me cold call. I got a very nicely put together deck and program. He has a giant red truck that had no logos on it, and it was screaming for an Eibach logo on it. So he was already performing very well, using our product, everything lined up very well, and that was the beginning of that partnership.
And I think that partnership started with just media at first. You were making videos for him, is what Jason told me. And now it's grown into, Eibach is a primary on his trophy truck. So you're a primary now that started out just as a media partnership.
Yeah, it was just, it was it was a small partnership, and then obviously now it's becoming the Eibach truck. You know, if you listen to the commentary, it's like, oh, Eibach truck is here, here, here. So pretty cool thing. And thank you to Jason for sharing sharing the title of the truck with us. And happy to be in that partnership.
Are you looking for more teams in off-roads?
Yeah, I mean, we are actively looking for teams who are, and I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing this, but really focused on content and media. And you know, what our goal is to broaden our reach. We have a pretty nice reach, nice following on all our social channels. We have a little ways to go to hit the monster guys, but we're always looking for ways to expand our reach and our voice and tell our story. And I think there are lots of different teams out there who have an awesome story to tell, who are already using our product, and that's what we're looking for.
And when it comes to content, is this content for the teams to distribute on their social media or content for Eibach to use in its own marketing channels? Are you looking for them to create content to give you that content for your use, or to create content and then promote the brand through that content?
It's really a collaborative effort. So since we last spoke, Instagram now has the collaboration option, and that falls on everyone's channel, and you can all see it. And it just expands the reach and the engagement so much when you do that. And so that's been a great tool for us. We are not asking for white label, turn it around and use it on our own stuff. That is nice. I will take that, but their success is our success. So the more we can do together, the better. And that's, we're not just trying to get it and not let them use it. We'll promote their success, or like I said, their success. We'll promote and use their content. And sometimes their content will show up with, on our feed, on our pages, maybe in a commercial. We have a media team in house, and we often go out and shoot our own together with them. And sometimes that's an added value on our end. I don't have a huge budget, but what I do have is a very talented media team,
Mm-hmm.
and some reach. And so what we can do is, work together to see the shared value for each of us. You got a successful driver who has some content, but maybe there's some opportunity there. We've got a team who's very talented and very efficient, and we can go out and shoot what we need to shoot, do what we need to do. A cool example of this was, back to Jason, we had a promotion for our moto springs. So we've been making motorcycle springs for 2 decades now, kind of very quietly, and we've been trying to promote the fact that we've got them. So we jumped in to a testing day with Jason and brought out Marvin Muskin and did a really cool collaborative commercial that we're now running on Flow or a bunch of different places. So there's a lot of opportunity when you've got the right teams who are willing and open to work together for the common goal.
Yeah, and that actually makes a lot of sense. I saw those motorcycle springs at PRI. PRI is not typically a motorcycle venue, but in the Eibach booth, there was a badass motorcycle with Eibach springs on it, and noticed that instantly. It's nice to market like that, because instantly you see a motocross bike at PRI and it catches your attention. That was very smart. That was good marketing.
Thanks.
Uh,
It's tough to stand out at PRI because there's so much cool stuff pulling your attention away. You walk down the aisles, and what's nice about PRI is you got real racing, real racers. You got very focused customer there. And when we got there, we're like, okay, so one year we did Jason's truck. One year we did the motorcycles. It's like things that the East Coast and Midwest people don't get to see very often. Coming from the Midwest, I have I would never have seen that truck in person unless I came out here or did, went to Crandon or something like that. So it's not easy for people to see some of these things that I can literally walk out my door and see here in California. So that's kind of what we're thinking of, is like, how do we do something unique that for our, for the people who are at the show out there.
Well, what's really cool is, I saw Jason's truck many times the other day on Starstream. I saw the live stream that George does with Starstream because we've never seen that before. As I said earlier in
Mhm.
an earlier session, all in-car footage, especially back at Core and Lucas Oil, it was always on a chip and it was tape delayed. Very
Mm,
rarely did we have live footage from in a car. And maybe on a short course track, you might be able to do that, but not in desert racing.
yeah,
You can't, it's impossible. But now with Starstream, you can. And so I was able to watch the race, watch his win, watch his success. It was great. It was
yeah,
fantastic. The way that you can now bring the brand into homes that otherwise would have never seen that.
right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, so what's interesting about that scenario is that that was a multi-year process. So, Jason started with the cameras inside. We didn't have comms hooked up. And then the following race, he started to get comms hooked up. And then all of these things. And so now you can really be, you're like, feel like you're really there. And, there are even points where it's like earlier, a couple years ago, it's like, well, this thing can't keep up. Once, for example, Vegas to Reno, there's a lot of long straights where they're doing triple digits and it can't keep up. But now it's like everything can keep up with it, and it's pretty exciting to really be part of that. I mean, we were sitting there around the office working. We were working very hard, but also had it playing in the background, and you could see, you know, all the guys in the office are like totally engaged with, but working really engaged with what Brady's doing on the nav, and then there's just branding opportunities in there. The guys had Eibach logos on their suits on the forearms, so every time they move their hands around, so there's branding opportunities in there, and it's just a really cool thing that is I think in the past year has really started to take off and become more easy to implement.
Yeah, it has just been about a year, and the footage is phenomenal. It's just so crisp and clean and clear and high resolution compared to some of the other footage that it truly was amazing. It's changing
Mhm.
racing, and it's going to change just the way sports broadcasting works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for example, um, it's a it's an opportunity for sponsors to get involved, which, like you said, the more sponsors get involved, the more people can afford to race and help improve racing, from that standpoint. It's an injection of potential dollars, because of all the extra branding opportunities and just the cool thing that people are truly engaged in. Like, your viewer retention is huge because you just turn it on, and I mean, his race was 550 miles, but you just turn it on and you leave it running. And so, your
I do.
metrics look good. It pops, the algorithm picks it up. And then when you have brands working together to promote it, it just makes it even better.
No, that's true. That's what I did. I was supposed to be packing for this, getting ready for this summit, and I lost all day Friday. For those people that don't know, the race was Friday, and then word ceremony was Saturday. They all came home
Yeah.
yesterday, and I guess Sunday. But
Yeah.
any last words of advice? We just have a minute left, and thank you for taking the time, and everybody for staying on so late. There's still quite a few people on the East Coast that are still on. I'm very surprised. Thank you. Last words of advice, then I'm gonna close it up.
Um, I think the biggest thing is to invest in your marketing like you would invest in the car.
Mm,
It is equally important,
yes.
if not more important. I think I've mentioned this before, and we've probably talked about this before. Wins are great. Wins are important, but there are ways to offset performance provided you are engaged with your partners. You're creating and answering getting your deliverables knocked out and really working together on making it work.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And we didn't even cover that today. I usually do cover that you need to invest in marketing. When you get money from a sponsor, throw it back in marketing to help that sponsor. We didn't really talk about that. So
Yep.
thank you for bringing that up.
Yes. Yeah. Mic drop. Just kidding. It's not that good of a one. But yes, always, if you've got, let's say you've got a budget of 30 grand, take at least five of that or whatever. I'm talking like low budget stuff, grassroots stuff.
Mhm.
You've got a budget of 100 grand, just take well 30 or whatever, 30% of it.
It
Not
gives
30.
you something tangible that you can show a sponsor that you did. Let's say the racing
Yeah,
had no effect. Let's say nothing you did had an effect, but you're paid for media, what you invested on behalf of the sponsor, whether it's publicity or maybe you ran a couple ads, maybe you bought a spot, maybe you boosted some posts. You can show tangible results that way. It's
right.
just logical. It makes
And,
sense.
and it shows that you care enough to invest in it. And
Yeah.
that's a big one too. I can see, if someone says, "Hey, we're bringing media on for this event," it's like, "Oh, thank you for doing that. Thank you for including us in that." That to me shows that you are invested and know the value of our partnership and the value of what good media is.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you, Mark. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Mark, for closing it out. And then thank you, George Hamill, Tiffany Stone, and then 19 Industries for this everything, making this happen today. Um, a couple members were asking about the membership. And just real quick, is the membership is not so much, it's evolving. It's something that I'm doing. It's more of a coaching program than a membership program where you can call me, we get on the phone, some people text first, then call. And we'll talk about your upcoming meeting, your approach, this person you want to meet. Maybe you need an introduction. I don't have a real good membership program in place where every week we get on a call and talk about a topic. That's not how I do this. I'm not real good at that. It's more about one-on-one coaching. And if you have a question, you got my number, so call me and maybe I can help answer it, and call anytime. So thank you everybody for joining the Off-Road Sponsorship Summit. This was another good one, and I'm looking forward to next year. Thanks everybody. Have a great night, especially on the East Coast. Thanks for staying up so late.